Surprise! Surprise! Happy Sunday! Alright, you guys, I just could not wait. So long. Alright, such a long week, such a long few days. Let me come on here. I have some time. I have a quiet space this Sunday morning still, okay? Happy East Coast morning. Let me come on. Let's get a jump start on our next portion. So, of course, we are still reading from the Moorish Holy Quran. We are on chapter 25. We're going to go ahead and get a jump start here so we can go ahead and begin Ecclesiastes. I did transcribe these days ago, so I've kind of just been sitting on the information, sitting on what we'll be discussing. So why not, while it's ready to go, let's go ahead and talk about it. I hope you guys are doing well and having a wonderful weekend. It's a little cloudy over here. It's actually a beautiful week this week. Sun was out. It wasn't too cold. It felt like springtime was finally arriving, but now it's kind of back to that overcast, not nearly. Without the rambling about the weather, let's go ahead and begin here. We are covering chapter 25 from the Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali. And I thought I was going to preface this, but maybe we'll just talk about this after, since this is very short. Let's see how this flows. But this is titled A Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation. So with this Asiatic nation, we kind of think an Asiatic nation, but we're a little bit confused because we know Drew Ali and the Moorish Holy Temple, founded in Chicago, was really anything but an Asian culture. So we're getting a little bit confused with the term Asiatic nation. If you would like to do your own research on what the Moors define an Asiatic nation, please do so. It's a little bit hard to discuss because it's not really a term that we use anymore, and it is semi-defined within the concept of the Moorish Holy Temple. So I'll leave that to your own research, but it really just goes back to like the very, very early peoples, right? The founders of a lot of our civilization. So that's where we're getting this sense of Asiatic nation, okay? Some of the first peoples, etc. So this is the covenant, right? Let us begin. I'm just going to read through it very short. Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother hath given you to suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity. And prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Alright, so short, simple, sweet, beautiful. Again, I think some of the themes that we talked about the other day that were very prevalent in the last 5 books in the Bible, they're going to start popping up, I think, more and more, at least in this first section that we'll be talking about. But unity, love, we talked about this community, and I'm pretty sure, I won't even have the notes, but we were talking about unity and oneness. How first, the unity of your community, the love that you have, the respect that you have for your paternal family, right? Your family may be, blood related, maybe just chosen family. I know things are a little bit convoluted today, but very, very important, okay? And it is saying that there is this sacredness of blood, okay? It's very, very important that we look out for each other. If not anybody else, make it be your family, right? We did discuss this many times, how it is an honor and it is a responsibility of thy child to provide for their parents, just as their parents provided for the child when they were helpless, right? It's very, very important, and if not the most important thing that we can even do in this life. So we'll talk a little bit more about life, right? We'll talk a little bit about, family relation and community and unity and what is the most important thing we should be focusing on. But this gives us that nice overview that, this is it's very primary, right? This is our primary focus, at least during this time, right? Even when we're off, separated in the world, remember your relationships to people. Remember this closeness and this unity, because this is the closest thing to pure and unconditional love that we can experience right here, right now. So I will leave it with this. I guess I will mention, so doing more research on this book here. I was reading a little bit more about the Moorish Holy Temple, trying to get a good grasp on the Asiatic nation and what it's meant. Does this apply to everybody, right? Or is it just for a select few? Seems very universal, right? This message, it should be taken as a universal message. Nonetheless, I did find this very, very old knowledge text published and republished, right? It was like 1948, and this would have been even before then. But there's a very, very old text, republished around this time of this putting together of this Moorish Holy Quran. Anyways, it's called Unto Thee I Grant, Unto Thee I Grant, the economy of life. So this is actually where the majority of these chapters from the Moorish Holy Quran, the Holy Quran put together by Juali, he compiled this, right? But he drew a lot of this wisdom from this very ancient text that came from like East Asia, right? East Asia, long time ago. Wisdom that was passed on and foretold and then retold, with kind of the European pen, right? At a later time. But this is very old. Unto Thee I Grant. This is where a lot of this knowledge comes from. It's worded very anciently in even the text written in the early 1900s, because it's coming from letters from like the 1700s, I would say. But it's coming from knowledge way during the years of 1360. There's a lot. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting things, but I did find the PDF, and just for record keeping sake, I'm going to put it here in the comments, I suppose, after I end the video. But this is where a lot of these, like, instructions for thy mother, instructions for thy father, that type of thing. It's like 20 or so chapters that we will cover throughout these next few weeks, is coming from this very, very ancient wisdom that was published and written about and republished and republished and republished until we have it here in this Holy Quran, which changes the words just a bit so it's a little bit more understandable, because the lettering before was ancient. I'll just put it like that. It's very ancient. But I will copy and paste. I found the PDF. It's like about 98 pages, and you're going to see the similarities, okay? And I think there's a little bit more detail, and there's some more lines than what's written here, but it's very similar, so interestingly enough. But that was due to a little bit of research on the text itself, and that it was compiled and prepared, right, by this noble prophet, and the divine inspiration was for him to compile this knowledge and this information and make sure that it lives on for another audience in another way. And just as we're reading it today, it lives on in another audience in another way. So I think that is important in itself. All right, so leave us here thinking about unity, thinking about life in general, right? What is important in life? Because we're going to get into Ecclesiastes next, and we're going to be really thinking hard about life. All right, I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you in a second.